to join in, right? The markets are on fire. I don't know whether I've heard so much of bullishness in a long while. Looks like you're on the bull.
On the horse again. Is it a horse or a bull?
I think you're on mute.
So a horse,
riding
bull,
along.
Doesn't matter. Any animal that's moving upwards, I think that's all of them. So
Galloping ahead.
I think most of the country is happy about what has come out in the elections this last weekend, and the markets certainly reflect it. And I guess the answer is this government is here to stay. Therefore, infrastructure is a good bet. Therefore, anything that they touch is also going to be good, and also probably good for PSUs for the next few months.
All right. Okay, Mr. Advani, you have watched this market for many, many years, and as you already indicated at the start of it, you're galloping along as well, on whichever animal is it. But what do you think? 2025, 2026, 1 lakh on the sensex. Just want to put a number out there. We've been waiting for this. You would have seen the sensex at 2,000 as well. But do you think the time has come?
I don't think 1 lakh, but I think, we definitely... See, I'll tell you what needs to change is that FIs have been sellers, FPIs have been sellers. They have to turn their perspective. I don't think we're going to see much of it in December 2023, but we may see a January effect, which will be nice, and that will bring the markets back on track if they start putting serious amounts of money in. We're also trying to do debt issues overseas, which will also be good to bring in money, because at the end of it all, we need money for long-term infrastructure. And I think the rest of the world is comfortable with us being there. So all in all, these are all favorable signs, but we need things to happen. And, sure, the index will continue to go up, but 1 lakh in 2 years, I think, is a little over-optimistic, according to me.
Within 3 years, it should be possible, right, Mr. Advani? If we're talking about 15% compounding, 2026, it should definitely be closer to that 1 lakh odd mark. Do you think we're running ahead of ourselves?
I think we are. I think, the problem the issue in India is we think big and then we're not able to execute as big as we'd like to think. But I think that we are definitely in a bullish phase, and now we need the FIIs to turn around and agree with us. This year they've been sellers for most of the year, so now they'll turn, I hope.
We take that caution on board, and they've been sellers so far, and that's reflected in the Nifty Bank as well. Earnings have been good, actually. But the Nifty Bank has been a bit of, an underperformer. Now, however, it's coming to the party, and this flows come back, that could very well be the place that you'll have to be. How are you positioned? I think in the past, you've stayed a little bit clear of financials and banks. Your view now?
So again, I think that the laggard has been HDFC Bank, which has obviously turned, and it's up quite smartly today. And I think that that's the main driver, because that's the biggest bank in the index. So I think that, today it's up 3.5%. So, that's definitely going to move the bank index. Again, the PSU banks, I think, will do well. Government wants to get dividends. These are prime position to do it. In a good economy, the loan losses will be less, and banks can take advantage of it. So yes, it's a sector that one can be in. And if HDFC Bank is turning around, then therefore that's the first one of choice, and that's the one that money will come in. It's listed in the New York Stock Exchange also, so that also helps.
Well, at least in the month of November, we've seen some FI inflows into the cash market. They were big sellers in August, September and October, selling anywhere between 20 to 30,000 per month. But in the month of November, so far at least, they've pumped in about 5,700 crores. And today, maybe we will see some inflows from the FIs too, just going by the price action. Pashupati, do you think whenever the FIs return, maybe they return in the month of January, they will look at mid-caps too? Because the liquidity in the mid-caps too, has picked up. Do you think they will chase some of the smaller stocks in the mid-cap universe, or will they stick with the tried and tested financials that they've backed for so long?
So I think most of the foreign money that comes in...
Mr. Advani, we'll just have to come back to you. As we speak, it's a big, big moment yet again. The Nifty Bank has gone ahead and made a fresh all-time high. We've gone ahead and, knocked on that 46,370 odd. And it's up 3.5% today itself. The last 7-8 days, it's been showing some traction. And the big boy, HDFC Bank, that Mr. Advani was just talking about, big move is what we're seeing out there. And, Rima, this HDFC Bank actually in the last 10 years has never had a single year when it's given negative returns. And year to date, it's down only around 0.5%. That was down close to around 5%, a short while back. So year to date, HDFC Bank does another percent moves, well, anything can happen to the Nifty. I guess the Nifty will be closer to around the 21,000 odd mark. But that's the big mover. The Nifty Bank making a fresh all-time high. The Nifty making a fresh all-time high on a day-to-day basis, and things looking very, very good.
And just climbing higher and higher, 46,400 on the Nifty. So it's not that it's gotten to that peak level, that summit, and then deterred a bit, given up, a few points, some profit taking. In fact, the momentum is only picking up in the markets now. And even on the Nifty, we're knocking on the doors of 20,700. So that last 100 points on the Nifty too has come in very swiftly. But Pashupati, clearly today has been a very big momentum day for our markets. The bullish sentiment in the markets is extremely high. But you were telling us about the mid-cap action and what we could expect going ahead, and whether the FIs will look to participate in this mid-cap rally.
So most of the conventional FIIs have the bulk of their assets in the bigger stocks, probably 75-80%, and then some of them buy some mid caps and maybe the occasional small cap. So I think that that's where it's going to be. But what that does do is pushes domestics to sell out the big caps and them themselves moving into medium and small caps. And we've seen a lot of inflows in retail investors into small cap and mid cap funds over the last couple of months, which I think is a trend which is, it's a leading trend this time instead of a following trend from retail. That's my opinion. Niba?
No, I mean, in the morning we were talking about how the level on the Nifty Bank is the all-time high, 78% retracement. It is 2 days. It just takes a day like today. I was just wondering, when is the last time we had a 2% rally on the Nifty? A 3.5% rally on the Nifty Bank. Maybe after the, the last big one would be, I think the corporate tax cut perhaps would be the last big one, right? That was late 2019, Pashupati. I think September 2019. The election verdict would be before that. I mean, you have to go back some time. Maybe, one of those sharp bear market rallies during COVID, when it was extraordinary kind of circumstances. So this really will go down as one of the big ones.
Yeah, and I think what has happened is that the voting that has come in has actually shown a confidence that people were surprised at. And I think that as a result of which they are feeling that the existing government will come back and will come back in spades as opposed to just chugging along. And I think that means the policies will continue. And, certainly business understands what policies they want to do and are aligning themselves. Now, I heard Uday Kotak earlier on at your award function saying that we need private sector to be thinking about investing. That has not yet happened in a big way, but I think if that happens, we will then go into a different phase. I think that's very positive for our country.
Okay, our colleague Sudarshan tells me that it was October 4th, 2022. So you don't have to go back very far back for that. For a 2% kind of move, we had one on 4th of October 2022. So actually, we'll put that data out. It'll be interesting to see these big moves that we've had. Pashupati, for those who are watching, I mean, you make money by buying stocks. So give us some ideas. What can one, opportunities from here?
I think entire retail seems to be buying Nifty options and riding that bull. Nobody wants to talk about anything. Nobody wants to talk about anything else.
No, but yeah.
I'll tell you, one of the things that have been a big move has been, I am very comfortable, say, in a stock like Reliance. I know they own your channel, but I think that that's something that is a bellwether for India Inc. And I think it would be a good place to be. The Adani stocks are always good for, obviously they'll be benefiting if this government stays. And I think that we've seen that because they've had a huge rise in market cap over the last week, 10 days. And today, big numbers because obviously the BJP looks like it's going to be in power and therefore the Adani Raj will continue. So things like Adani Enterprises and ports would be definitely something to continue. And as I said, anything in infrastructure, government wants to complete by May for sure. And then after that, and I'm presuming the BJP will still be in power, then of course it'll continue. So all the infrastructure companies who are building are in great demand. And along with that, cement, steel, whatever it takes to get there. And I think it's all going to be in top gear moving. We're seeing that already in the markets.
Mr. Advani, in the past you've told us, I think, J. Kumar is a stock that you've liked from the infra pack, if I remember correctly. HDFC Bank, I think you said it should be part of most portfolios, because it's got such a large weightage out there. And one call, if I remember correctly, I think pharma you were quite positive on. And year to date, actually, that has been, one of the sectors that has done quite well. What's the view from year on? Because the banks now are coming into play. But year to date, actually, the pharma index has done very, very well.
Well, again, I think we are realizing that we've got certain illnesses that makes public have more and more medicines. And as more and more people get sort of richer, they're starting to, and claim on insurance, they begin to start buying more medicine. So that's very good for the pharma industry. And, plus, I know, for example, Sun Pharma has got its act together with the acquisition of the Ranbaxy assets, and now they've got EPA approval to send, FDA approval to send medicines into the US. These are all good things. It's just that today, on a day when everything else is charging, pharma is kind of forgotten. So today it's left behind. But overall, it's had a decent move this year. I think it's up, I think high 20s, maybe %. So it's not a bad place to be. It's not obviously as much as some of the other indices, but hey, I'll take 20% plus. Why not?
But give us two stocks, Mr. Advani. Today we are looking at stocks. Those who want to play options, we'll keep them aside. But a lot of our retail audience out there, they'll say, Mr. Advani has a lot of experience out there. Maybe he's found some value buys. In the past, you've told us about J. Kumar, as I mentioned earlier. A couple of pharma names as well we have discussed on the show. Leave us with one or two names at least with some rationale.
No, so the rationale is to buy big. I think is probably to buy big pharma simply because they've got their act together. So and still it seems to be that, there's going to be some consolidation in the pharma space because there are the companies that know what they're doing vis-a-vis exports. And there are companies that are just drug manufacturers. So I would pick from the large pharmas, whether it's Dr. Reddy's or Sun Pharma or one of those.
Okay.
They're all good. And, they will participate in this rally. So why not, Nigel?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for joining in. By the way, today, some of these new age tech companies, Paytm and Honasa Consumer, are not participating in the rally. So Honasa Consumer has a cut of close to about 4%. And in a pull up a 2-week chart of Honasa Consumer, you would see that less than a week back, the stock had gone to levels of 486. And from that level, it's down close to about 100 points. So in the last few days, we've seen quite a correction in Honasa Consumer. Still above its issue price of 326, but from the peak of 486, the stock has fallen close to about 100 points. But Nimesh is here.